Yo, what is going on guys, XpertFusion here, and today I'm going to be going over 4 perks that I think should be added to Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War Zombies throughout the DLC season. I even have some of my own ideas for what the perk upgrades would be for these 4 perks. Now, of course, I do know that there was leaks and that they leaked actually 4 perks that apparently will be coming to the game. Now, of course, it's leaked information, it's not, 100%, and how, likely is it? It's definitely likely, but I am not going to be using those leaks for this video. Only 2 of the perks from those leaks I'm actually going to be including in this. The other 2 perks are, one of them is another perk, and the other one is actually a perk that I created myself. And so it's pretty cool. And some of these perk upgrades, some of the ideas I had kind of play into other perks that we've had throughout the Call of Duty's life cycle. And I think there's a lot more ideas I can probably come up with, but today we're just going to do 4 of these perks. So of course the leaked perks were Mule Kick, PhD Slider, or PhD Flopper, but I'm not too sure if it was specific on PhD Slider or Flopper, but it's likely going to be PhD Slider. And of course, Double Tap and Tombstone. Now, Double Tap and Tombstone were really interesting to hear. One, because Tombstone was a very unpopular perk. I mean, it's very popular in terms of just, memeing it, but in terms of actuality, it wasn't that great of a perk. I'm sure they could rework it in a way that makes it useful, and I can actually see it being somewhat useful in this game. There's definitely a way they can make it useful, but I don't think most people really care too much for Tombstone. And Double Tap is weird to me because I thought the reason they didn't include Double Tap was because there's already so many ways to improve your damage in this game. I mean, you have the Ethereum Crystal upgrades in the Create class menu for each of the different weapon, classes. So you can upgrade your damage there. You could upgrade your damage from Pack-a-Punching. You could upgrade your damage from just getting a better tiered weapon, higher rarity. So many ways to upgrade your damage. So I was really curious and interested in the fact that we might be getting Double Tap. Now, could it be Double Tap 1.0 so it doesn't increase your damage and it just increases your fire rate? That's a possibility. We'll have to wait and see on that. But of course, Mule Kick and PhD Slider make perfect sense, and there are 2 perks that I will be talking about today, but the other 2, we'll get into those in a little bit. First things first, I have Mule Kick. And Mule Kick has been in a lot of Zombies maps, and I was really surprised to not see it on launch with Cold War, but it is what it is. I do think this will definitely be added, probably the first perk to be added, to be completely honest, within this DLC season. And Mule Kick's great because, of course, you can hold a 3rd weapon. That's obviously the default thing it does without any upgrades, and that's how this version of Mule Kick will work for me as well. It's a great thing to have, especially in Cold War, because there's just so many guns you can play with, so many different, different variants of each of the weapons, and there's a lot of times where I'm playing where I really want a 3rd weapon, especially if I get the ray gun, and I'm like, damn, now I only have 1 other weapon to upgrade, but I kind of want to keep the ray gun, and then you get the die shockwave, and you're like, shit, you know what I mean? Having 3 weapons is just awesome, and I think in the past, most people didn't get it because you only were able to get 4 perks, but now with no perk limit, everyone's going to be getting Mule Kick. It's a great perk to have, and I'd really love to see it within this game. I don't have any price values for any of these perks because the price values for this game are really weird, how they increase as you get more perks. I understand why they did that, but I'm not really a big fan of it. I kind of wish they just all had their own point values and they stayed that way. So I didn't even bother with the point values. I'll just, they're around 2,000 to 3,000 for the most part. I think Mule Kick being 4,000 like it was in the past was a little too expensive for what it does. Infinite Warfare had it at 2,000, which I think is a perfect amount for Mule Kick. Now, when it comes to the first upgrade that these are obviously just my ideas. This isn't anything official. I would say it allows you to hold an additional lethal and primary slot. So, of course, there's a max on how many lethals and tacticals you can hold, especially for certain things like monkey bombs. You can only hold 2 monkey bombs at once. With Mule Kick, the first upgrade, you'd be able to hold 1 additional one for each of them. So monkey bombs, instead of just being able to hold 2, now you can hold up to 3, which I think would be fantastic for sure. And then for the second upgrade, I said the 3rd weapon that you have does not go away after going down. Well, obviously it goes away, but when you repurchase Mule Kick, it will give you back that 3rd weapon, so you don't lose it forever. But you need to have that second upgrade for this ability to be intact. And then the 3rd upgrade, I actually worked in the perk Bandolier Bandit from Black Ops 4 into Mule Kick because I felt like these perks had some similarities. And basically lets you carry increased ammo on all weapons. So you get maybe extra couple, magazines or something. I'm not too sure. Depends on the gun, of course. I think this would be great. It's not that useful considering there's free ammo basically everywhere. Like any perk that gives you more ammo in this game is not going to be that important because this game ammo's not an issue at all. This is like the first COD Zombies game where ammo is not a big deal. You know, it was a huge deal back in the day, but in this game, not at all. You can just keep buying more ammo. So it's not a huge, you know, positive to the perk, but it definitely will help you out. You won't be going to the ammo crates as often. And for wonder weapons, it's also pretty great as well, because those are usually pretty expensive to refuel their ammo, and especially for the die shockwave. I mean, getting to hold more ammo on something like that would be really damn cool. So that's Mule Kick for the first perk. Next up, I've got PhD Slider. So PhD Slider, obviously the default version of this perk, makes it so self-inflicted explosive damage is just gone. So you cannot kill yourself with explosives. You spam the floor, you will be fine. Now, I don't think this would be OP in this game because most of the explosives aren't that OP. They don't even have the Mustang and Sally. So you'll probably be okay. Now, the ray gun is really damn good. So that's the only explosive that I could see this maybe being overpowered for. But this game is already incredibly easy the way they made it. So I kind of just said screw it when it comes to overpowered things, because there's already a lot of overpowered things in this game. I don't think it's a big deal if you have a perk that's pretty overpowered. But having this would obviously be huge for the ray gun, and also sliding builds up a charge that eventually, when you slide into zombies, it'll, you know, kind of immerse this massive explosion, just like Black Ops 4's PhD Slider, and, you know, that's kind of cool, I gotta say. It was a fun thing to mess with the Black Ops 4, so I think it'd be cool to have it here as well. The first upgrade increases slide speed and distance. So I actually thought Stamina did this, but I checked out the perk and it actually doesn't say anywhere that it increases slide speed or distance at all. So I thought PhD Slider should do it, and that's actually what it did in Black Ops 4. So first upgrade increases slide speed and distance. Second upgrade, increased explosive damage when entering a slide from greater heights. So basically the explosion you get from, you know, sliding is increased if you do it from a higher place. I was thinking about putting, you know, obviously no fall damage as a thing for this, but they actually already worked no fall damage into stamina up in this game, which is kind of interesting. So that's already there. And then for the third upgrade for PhD Slider, increased resistance against enemy explosive attacks. So this isn't taking explosive attacks completely out of the picture, but it definitely, it'll make it so they're not as, I guess, lethal, you know what I mean? And what I mean by explosive attacks, I mean like any attack from an enemy. Obviously, the only really enemies who do this would be the megatons, who they do those, you know, and the, you know, mega blasters, all those guys, anything that throws something at you. So basically a projectile, it makes it so that damage is going to be decreased substantially. Now they already have something like that for Jug, but it's not the same. It kind of just makes the effects of projectile attacks not last as long. But I think just decreasing the damage of them would be pretty cool. Maybe if they add in future bosses that like maybe explode or something, it would kind of negate that damage a little bit. I think that would be a great upgrade to have for PhD Slider. Next up, I got Electric Cherry, one of my favorite perks in zombies, but it was only really good in Black Ops 2. Black Ops 3, it was not as good, still pretty good. In the Black Ops 4, it was kind of meh. Infinite Warfare was pretty bad, and it was terrible in World War II. Oh my god, they had the worst version of Electric Cherry in World War II. It did nothing practically. But this Electric Cherry, I would hope, would be a lot more powerful. Obviously, the base version of it, reloading creates this electric blast that obviously stuns and kills zombies around you. For the first upgrade, the electric blast radius is increased, so now instead of it just doing a little bit of an area around you, it kind of goes out a little bit further. The second upgrade, that electric blast damage is now increased, so it'll be killing zombies a lot quicker, a lot, you know, further into the rounds, which is definitely great. And then for the third upgrade, it's the same thing that it did in Black Ops 4, which is the more reloads you do, it kind of builds up this knife charge, this electric knife charge, that'll allow you to knife the zombies and kind of do an electric attack on them. And what I thought would be really cool about this electric attack is make it just like Pop Shocks from Black Ops 3 with the Gobblegums. If you knife like a boss zombie, it should insta-kill it, or at least kill it really quickly. That would be really cool against the Megatons, because you get this electric knife built up after reloading a bunch of times, and then you can just go up and just knife a boss zombie. Maybe not insta-kill it, but do a lot of damage with that electric knife. I think that would be really cool, but make it so it's a while to build up this charge, obviously, so you're not just always having this electric knife that does like a lot of damage. So pretty, you know, standard perk there, but I think Electric Cherry would be awesome. We could finally get some cool jingle for it as well, maybe, because we never really had the Electric Cherry jingle before. That'd be really awesome. And let's get into the last perk. So the last perk is actually going to be a perk made by me specifically, not a perk that we've seen before, and I think the game definitely needs some original perks. I don't want them all to be just, remakes of older perks or even just completely the same exact perk. Obviously the machines will look pretty different, but I would like to see at least one completely new perk that we've never seen before, because even Elemental Pop, although it's a new perk, it's not really that new because it's literally just using elemental ability. There's nothing really overly special about it. It's just the same double pap abilities that we already have in the game, but you have them in a perk form as well. It's a really weird perk, to be honest. I don't hate it, I just think it's a weird perk to have in the game, and there's definitely other ideas they could have gone with. So my idea, I've had this idea for years now, is Mystery Martini. So obviously based off of the Martini drink, so I think that'd be pretty cool. And the whole perk is essentially based around two things: the box and power-ups. So it's basically a luck-based perk. Obviously Mystery Martini, it's all about, mystery. What are you gonna get? What are you gonna get from the box? What are you gonna get in terms of power-ups? That's what it's all about. So on the base default version of the perk, basically what it does is box luck is increased, it's improved. Your luck of getting better weapons is higher. This game, it works perfectly because you have all of these rarities, so simply just make it so your chances of getting a rare weapon is increased. It doesn't have to be a massive increase, just, slightly increased, so you're more likely to get an epic or legendary weapon. Now you could still possibly get really crappy weapons. It's not impossible to get crappy weapons now. It's just more likely to get the better weapons, which is a really useful thing to have, especially for people who are trying to get the best weapons possible out of the box. The first upgrade for it, increased chances of power-ups dropping, so essentially just makes power-ups drop a little bit more. I'm not too sure how the power-ups work in this game. I haven't really tested it out much myself, but I know previous Call of Duties, they used to have a cap of 4 power-ups per round. So if that's the case in this game, I'm not too sure if it is. If it is, make it so it's 5 power-ups instead of 4. And if it's just on a simply, random basis in this game, which again, I'm not too sure, and again, just make it so they drop more often. Pretty simple as that. And of course, it's a power-up cycle, but make it so the better power-ups and the power-ups that you need in that moment are more likely to drop. So let's say you're out of ammo, it's more likely that you're going to get a max ammo. Stuff like that, you know what I mean? Or if there's a lot of zombies around you and your friend's down, more likely to get a nuke. Stuff like that. So the second tier would be increased chances of a salvage dropping. Of course, the green and blue stuff, and more of it drops. So this stuff is really hard to come by in this game. So this would be a really nice perk to have because you'd be getting more of that salvage, which is really useful for crafting stuff. So having a perk like this, I'd be getting this like one of the first perks for sure. This would be like one of my I get this perk before I get Jug, to be honest, just because of how much it's doing for the player. And then the final upgrade, the third upgrade, is a pretty cool thing that I think would be really awesome to have. If you get the bunny out of the box, which is of course like the teddy bear, which moves the box, you can knife it and it'll keep it in place. So essentially you can keep the box in one place for the entire game with this perk. Obviously you need the third upgrade for it, but of course if you want to let the box move, which sometimes people want the box to move, they don't want it to stay in the same place, you can just let it go. You have to specifically knife the box when the bunny shows up. Whoever has the perk is only able to do that, and boom, the box will stay there, which would be great for players who are just trying to keep the box in one location the whole game and they don't want to worry about it flying around the map. This would be awesome. So yeah, that's all the perks I have for this video. I think these perks would be an awesome addition to the game. Let me know your perk ideas in the comment section below. And there's also been talks of Gobblegums possibly returning to this game. I'm not too sure how reliable those rumors are, but if they do return, hopefully it's just a good system. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.